is online. I'll take your word for it. Well, anyway.
All right, speaking of professionals, we got ourselves a best of 5 finals here. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Hardwire, it is our blue Zerg player for Kitesy Gaming, Solar.
And in the bottom left, in the red, looking to snuff out the sun on the other side of the map, he is, for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Zest.
Snuff out the sun, I love it. He's gonna put a Dyson Sphere around Solar and use up all his energy.
Well, you know, we could say something about, you know, the Juliet Solar's, well, the Romeo, no. Yes, the Romeo to Solar's Juliet, because, you know, he is the east and Juliet the sun.
Ah, I see.
It's been too long since I've read that, so I'm probably butchering
That's okay.
it.
I made a space joke and you made a theater joke, and I feel like that really worked for us, you know?
You gotta show Twitch chat that you're well-rounded.
That's right.
And as my chat has been trying to get me to take my shirt off on camera for a solid months now, I guess that's the closest they're gonna get.
The shirtless Roddy crowd has moved on, and they've become the shirtless Beowulf crowd.
You're not wrong.
Understandable. So when's the hot tub stream?
I told him if I ever made partner, we'd do one.
Nice. Ooh, wow. That's a spicy promise right there.
I mean, it's only fair. If I can get partner, that means big things. Hopefully.
There you go.
And yeah, we're just not there yet. So again, you want me to take my shirt off on stream? Get me to partner. Like, that's pretty simple.
Twitch chat, you heard him. You just keep that stream up. Just keep it up all the time. Make sure to bump those numbers up.
Well, actually, you know, keeping your stream up all the time is probably a bad way to do that, because your average viewers are going to be lower if you just have the stream up while you're, I don't know.
Not you. I'm telling them to keep the stream up. You know?
Okay.
So that even if they're not watching, they're still watching.
Which reminds me, I need to do more with my YouTube. You've been doing a great job with that.
I've been trying. I hired an editor to actually make sure I get videos up. It's great. Hecons has been killing it. Makes thumbnails. It's fantastic. I'm terrible at all of that, so it's great.
He even found the glamour shot that Alpha X had me take of myself at one point, which was kind of impressive. Don't know where he got
you
that.
Look very, you look very like pro gamery in that one.
I know, right?
It's
they asked for something like that for the announcement picture. I'm like, okay, pro gamer shot. Here we go. But anyway, go ahead.
We got a game here. I was just we were transitioning into the game. It's a good time for that. We got a Void Ray on the way for Zest. He's being very annoying with this Adept. As you do when you're Protoss.
As one does. I like how we both have the caster instinct like the exact same time. Well, we've bought enough time here. Let's talk about the actual game, because that's what we want to talk about.
I mean, there's only so much to talk about at the moment, since Zest is going pretty standard Stargate opener. We have to wait until the next tech building goes down, really, to know what he's going to be doing here.
Actually, Zest has been doing some really cool ZVP builds, at least in the series against Ragnarok. So we saw him do a lot of this Stargate play. That makes, I mean, everything is Stargate play, let's be real. But Stargate, significant numbers of oracles, and then he was getting 6 gateways with Glaive Adepts and a +1 air and his third base. And he just afforded this by cutting probes for a while. So it's a pressure build, it's a timing build, but it's not, you know, an all-in. And then he would run across the map with 6 gate adepts and try to kill his opponent. And meanwhile, he does have a third base to back up too. He has a +1 to fall back on. But it's just going to be your default 2 Stargate +1 air build in this game number 1. Zest, he's not throwing his shenanigans to the wind just yet.
At least not yet. Yeah, we've seen him do some fun like Tempest builds as well. He's not shy about doing some of those funkier ones, which I really love to see. Mixing in the carrier builds and the Tempest builds. I'm sure the Zergs hate to see it, but I love to see it.
Yeah, so Chicken Man, I actually got a question for you. It feels like, oh, that's a 3rd Stargate.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, he's gonna go speed voids, I think, in this game.
Yeah,
3 Stargate Void is the play, and that's an Estrella build right there. That's fun. But anyways, I had the question,
yeah.
and we got distracted by, ooh, extra Stargate, that's cool. It feels like every Katowice, at least for the last 2 Katowices, we've seen Zest show up, and he's got a build. It breaks the meta. It takes him to the grand finals, where he runs into one of like Solar or Raynor, who's like, yeah, I've actually been studying this. I put some thought into it. I had a little bit of time, and here's how you beat it. I'm going to 4-0 you or 4-1. I'm going to slap you aside.
Yeah.
What is the build that gets Zest slapped aside in the grand finals? Do you think he comes with another one?
I don't know if he's gonna have another meta-changing build for us. There hasn't been a lot of things to help shift the meta, like balance patches, right? So I don't know if he's gonna have another meta shifting build prepared. But the next question, does he need one? He's looking pretty good lately. That's all I'll say. I feel like there's a chance he might not need a meta shifting build. He's got enough solid standard plays. He can always throw in a cheeky Glaive the Depths or like DT build if he needs to. I don't know that he needs to shift the meta for us this time, as much as his play is just going to be solid standard, and I feel like he's going to be in good standing to win the tournament, even just like that.
You know what? I mean, he just won the GSL Super Tournament. He just went and became the all-time winner of EPT Cup, supplanting Hero Marine. So it's now the big Zest weekly instead of the big Gabe weekly, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Zest has 43, and I think Hero Marine has 42.
Weekly.
Exactly.
That's
there we
crazy.
go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be the perfect time for Zest to win, to win a Katowice and just like solid standard play. I feel like he can do it. I think he's got enough of a variety of builds, as we're seeing here, with the Flux Veins Void Rays build, and this is such an annoying build to handle. He's heading straight for Solar's main, and Solar, if the Hydras aren't there, the lair is dead. And it's a hive. That hive, it's a dead hive.
Well, technically, the hive has a little more HP, so maybe that buys the time. I'm not convinced. The hive is dead, but I did the caster thing where I'm like, it's dead. But maybe we can have some hope and ask exactly what Solar can do to defend this or come back from this. But instead, he's going to lose some Hydras here, too, because these Hydras, they don't have speed yet. Now you've got to run away Zest. But, hey.
He doesn't lose a single Void Ray. He just killed the hive, and he killed 5 Hydras for free.
Yeah.
For free.
Did he get a queen, too? No queen. Chicken Man, I got a question for you. Actually, more of a statement.
Okay, all right.
Zest, he's
you
really
already
good at...
did a question, so
yeah, that's fine.
We cut you off at 1.
Yeah, that's fair. Only one question for the entire series. But yeah, Zest, he's really good at avoiding that type of loss. Anyway, it's fine. By the way, Zest on top of this, he got a really quick 4th base. He is even on bases with the Zerg. Actually, he's ahead on bases right now because the lair and the hive went down. Through. Oh, sorry. No, he's actually ahead on 2 bases now.
Yeah, he's 2 bases up. I mean, this is like finally a void goes down, I guess. So there's something for Solar. But
it was unavoidable.
Nice. You've been saving that one up. You've been waiting. I think Solar's dead, and he thinks he's dead too, which is why he's pushing across the map. He's got 1 shot, 1 opportunity, and he's gonna try to take it. He's hitting the natural where there's not a lot of static defense. Zest is waiting for his voids to come back. Can Zest win this fight? The Parasitic Bomb's going to do quite a bit of damage to those voids, so he's got to split. There's no shield batteries under these air units. And Zest, I don't know if this is the fight he wants to take, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Oh, no.
Who, if anybody, takes the gold?
Oh, Solar by a mile. Absolutely. He's going to go take it right now.
Okay, excellent.
There we go.
Excellent.
Anyways, here.
I tend to agree.
Yeah?
Nope. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm interrupting.
I caught you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep interrupting. That's my bad.
Oops. I'll
try to stop interrupting now.
In the upper left, in the blue, he is Solar. See, if I just get it really loud and aggressive and fast, I won't be able to be interrupted. That's exactly what it is.
That's true. That's a good strategy. In the lower right-hand corner for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Zest. Hey, you're right.
Yeah, it worked out.
Then you're also right. Solar just went straight for the gold. You'll love to see it.
I mean, actually, we might see Zest take the gold here. We actually did see him take the gold against Dark in a similar setup. But what's actually really interesting here is this is a 15 hatch off of a gas cancel. So there are a couple different ways that you can take the gold on this map. You can go, almost always we will see the hatch, the gas cancel to just try to take it quickly, so the probe doesn't go and block it. But in Ragnarok's case, we saw him actually take it like 19 supply because Zest spent a lot of time just blocking out the natural. This game though, Solar, he just got there a little faster. And the faster you mine out of gold, it's even better. I mean, this is even better than a normal gold chicken, man. Like this is a gold that has 8 mineral patches on it.
This, you know what? This is a real gold. All those other golds, they're lame golds. This is the real deal here. I want to see more gold bases like this.
Now the trick is actually
I want to see gold bases with rich Vespene geysers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, the trick is we need an 8 mineral patch gold with double Vespene.
Yes.
Oh god.
Yes, dude. Let's go.
Oh, do you remember the it was a map in both Brood War, I think, and early StarCraft, like during the split Pro League era? You know what I'm, were you following when the one season where it was Pro League was both StarCraft 2 and StarCraft?
Yes. Vaguely.
And it had
a minute ago.
It had one base in the middle of the map, 4 mineral patches ringing the left, 4 mineral patches ringing the right. And it was just hotly contested. We saw some really weird games on it. Oh, that
was a kill, not a
dead
cancel.
spine.
And we've got 2 adepts here right now. The queen's out, but this could be a lot of dead drones.
Yeah, I mean, this zealot is still not dead. It's locking away a couple mineral patches here. 2 workers, well, okay, it looks like only 2 will go down. I think Zest just kind of commits to this more.
I feel like he should have just gone in, but he decides to back up. There was something proxy. Was that a gateway?
Stargate.
It was a Stargate. Oh my god. Proxying a Stargate against Zerg. You don't see that very often, do you?
I mean, we used to back in the day, but not in Legacy, not really.
He is still not taking a base, by the way. Zest, he is committing to this one base aggression.
Yeah, he's got a Stargate on the way back in his base now. It's kind of one of those things where you're like, it feels like Zest is really searching for a way to beat Zerg on this map. I've seen a couple different solutions. He got bopped by Ragnarok. He was able to just narrowly knock down Dark in that game, but he took the gold himself and just had a really good wall, which is really not the that's not a really consistent way to win. You know, you're like, well, I had the perfect wall and Dark kind of misplayed. You know, I won. That's not consistent. So maybe one base play, you do enough pressure to make Solar not mine efficiently from it. Maybe that's the way to win this game. I don't know. But it doesn't feel like this one worked all that well for Zest either.
No, he has forced a lot of lings, though, which means Solar's drone count, while he only lost 2, he just didn't build any drones for a while. So all these lings are now gonna, they're here, they exist, but they can't really do anything. So Zest did kind of take a win in that way. I think maybe he saw how many lings were coming out and decided to back off. I think that actually makes this maybe not quite worth it, but a little closer than it initially would have seemed.
I love this. We have a fleet beacon on the way before the natural's completed.
I know, that's amazing. That is incredible.
That is truly
one Stargate fleet beacon.
2 Stargate
Second
fleet
one
beacons.
does go down. I was really hoping it was going to be a mothership. I don't know why. It'd be so bad here, but
I mean, motherships can dodge Ravager Vials, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah. I'm actually, if you bile the center of a mothership, I think there's no chance it can get out of the way unless it's already moving. But with its acceleration, which is basically 0, I think there's no way it gets out of there.
Well, I think you're probably right. Slow zones are not going to slow that. So yeah, there is no way. Oracle finding a little bit of damage here, but this is Tempest play. And I like this for a couple reasons. First and foremost, you know that this is probably going to be a queen walk. You do not take the gold base and not walk queens across the map.
And
it's
not
just
walk the queens.
It's just not done. I mean, your creep's already in the middle of the map now. On top of that, Pride of Altaris has 4 levels, so you can just have the Tempests away from where your army is for quite a while. And if you're able to push this back, you can use those levels and just kind of sit behind the gold mineral line and just start to shell away at that base. Make life really hard for the Zerg player. So I like it. But Zest is also still on 2 bases against a soon-to-be 3-base Zerg with a gold base. It's hard to get away from that.
Yeah, that is a little worrisome. The Oracle is going to go down as well, which is very unfortunate. I like the idea of Solar breaking down these rocks because that is a big threat. Like you said, if the Tempest can push this back, they can just sit over those rocks and this gold base dies, right? Like you can't really hold that with queens. So clearing that rocks would actually make that a lot easier to hold. But we see a Spire going down for Solar. Now, did he get the scout off on what was in the main? He is not. So he doesn't necessarily know that it's Tempest, but the Spire is the right call here. That is going to be the way to go because Zest can't afford to just like chrono out triple Void Ray, which is normally what we'd see with this Tempest build.
Yeah, he is kind of stuck on 2 bases for now. Of course, Solar, the aspiring Corruptor player, is going to try to make something happen here. But yeah, you were talking about just this very thing. Tempest on the high ground, knocking down whatever they want. Now, we do not have Tectonic Destabilizers yet, so they're not really going to be able to cut down these 4s super quickly, but well, we're almost at critical mass for Tempest. You know, 5 one-shot queens, and already 2 or 3 have gone down. Yeah, Solar's just forced to evacuate this base. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I got enough. I don't know, but certainly I cannot expect to mine from this base anymore. The Tempests, they're kind of good.
They're pretty good in this situation, and yeah, he's got 5 of them now, so the queens will just die super quickly. The Spore Crawlers, even without Tectonic Destabilizers, they don't last very long here, and the base is going to go down. But we have 8 Corruptors on the way. No Corruptors started at this base, which I think is probably good for now. As I say that, he starts one up, but...
Well, actually, I think he's going to supply... No, he doesn't. He's going to be at 116, so he's fine. The question, though, is denying this base, killing off some queens, maybe denying the 3rd for a time. Is that enough? Well, actually, he's going to take a while to kill these queens, too. Is that enough? Because the recall is going to have to be spent very soon here. And I don't think this 3rd base goes down yet. So recall, 1 Tempest will die, but that's going to be just about it. And Zest is still on 2 bases.
I don't know if it was worth it, because yeah, Zest does not have a 3rd. He's about to go take one. But you know what? His army doesn't kill Lings very quickly either. So if we have enough Lings out, it's only 19. I was saying he could maybe go try to cancel this 3rd. I don't think it's really going to be possible. But the Corruptors are moving across the map, and they are going to try to snipe down some of these Tempests. Maybe to be able to grab a Void Ray as well.
Oh, so
or
long?
They're going to turn around and leave. That's pretty good too.
Yeah, I was going to say, so long as the Tempest can kind of stay over the shield batteries and poke away. Ooh, I love that. You do not see corruption happen nearly enough. Zerg's just, I mean, it's a lot of micro. You kind of forget about it. But, I mean, look, it means 1 less Void Ray in this fight. It means the Corruptors have a little bit more room to play. But anyways, so long as these Tempests, they can sit here kind of behind and play with the levels, play with the line of sight, sit over these shield batteries, it's going to make it somewhat difficult for medium numbers of Corruptors to engage. So I understand why Solar did that. He's like, yeah, I'm going to lose like a lot of Corruptors here. I'm going to maybe knock the Tempest out, but they're not super important anymore. Or I can take the gold again. And this time, you're not stopping it.
Yeah. So Solar is going to go ahead and take that 4th, but Zest says, well, I guess I'll just go take a 4th as well, because there's not really much that Solar can do about it right now. He is getting quite a bit of Corruptors out, which he absolutely needs to do. But I also feel like with the amount of Voids coming out, Spellcasters are going to be very strong here for Solar. Vipers, Infestors, whatever it happens to be, they are very, very good against high Void Ray counts. This army clumps so much.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but you know what? It's actually kind of interesting. I've seen a couple games go like this recently where you see the Zerg, they're really just overbuilding Corruptors. They say, yeah, I need to knock the air army out, then we'll be fine. And actually, I believe this was, this was Jo'un versus someone is what I'm thinking of. But then you're like the Protoss player seeing this coming. I mean, Zest has 4 gateways now, but he's going to have more on the way soon. He's got disruptors on the way. You hit a point where you have a lot of Corruptors. I mean, right now we're sitting at 50 supply of Corruptors on the game. And then it's like, well, okay, yeah, sure, I got 50 supply of Corruptors, but I have like nothing on the ground. And then you get a bunch of Stalkers, you get a bunch of Disruptors here, finding their way on in. 3 Ravagers will go down in the blink of an eye. Void Rays turn on their beams, and the Biles actually land really well here. Corruptors running away from all of the static defense. Does Zest have what he needs? No, he's going to be forced to micro back. No Guardian Shield. Shield battery overcharged without any Void Rays to defend, and everything I said about, well, you know, the ground army doesn't matter. It's all about the air army, or vice versa, actually. Well, the ground army is dead for Zest. The air army is dead for Zest, and Solar is going to knock Zest out of this game. We got a 1-1.
It's always a good time. It's been in the map pool for about 4 or 5 years at this point, I think. And spawning in the upper right-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg player for Kitesy Gaming, Solar.
And his opponent brushing his brow, wiping it, very happy that he does not have to play on that map anymore. He is, for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Zest is best.
He's been looking that way lately. I did not realize that he's won now more ESL Open Cups than Hero Marine. That is pretty huge. That's a big achievement.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I looked at it at like the end of last year, and I'm like, well, you know, Hero Marine does not feel quite as dominant in EPT Cups as he previously did. He's losing more. He's not winning like every single one. It's got to be someone close to him, right? And no one was close. It was like the Zest with 30 wins, I think, and Hero Marine was still at like 39. It was not close. So Zest has won a lot of these in the ensuing time. I believe he broke over the hump at like EBT North America on Monday. I don't know if he won that, but it was right around that time that someone made the post on Screddit. I wasn't casting that one, unfortunately. I had a conference paper to finish. But,
exciting stuff. Conference papers.
Yeah. It's when people get together and talk about nothing. It is the Seinfeld episode of PhD work.
Excellent. Yeah, he plays in a lot of the NA ones, and I feel like that helps him push over the edge. I feel like Hero Marine usually just sticks to EU.
Yeah, that is true. Hero Marine is not. We see Clem somewhat regularly play in NA, not all the time, but enough that you're like, okay, yeah, it's not surprising. We see Max Pax do that. We see Gerald, players like that. Hero Marine is not one of them. He does not keep the DGen gamer hours nearly as significantly as some of the other players that we got from Europe. So, you know.
Well, he is a very smart gamer, and he stays awake at the good times. Certainly not a degenerate, as you might suggest, of some of the other gamers. He has a strict schedule, and he sticks to it.
Yeah, we say this, Chicken Man, is it's, well, actually, it's really nice timing for you. EPT Korea, when you're in Hawaii, I imagine that, like...
Oh, it's chilling. It's 8 o'clock right now.
Oh,
I'm cruising. Yeah. The only problem is that this will probably end after everything in town closes.
Ooh.
Because I'm in such a small town. But it's really not the end of the world. I'll make myself a sandwich. I'll hang out. I'll work on some stuff, and then go to sleep in a couple hours. It'll be great.
That is, I loved it when I was living in Arizona, and we still had GSL on Friday nights.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd go, and it would GSL would start like at 7 o'clock at night. Part of the year, it'd start at 8 o'clock or 6, whatever, late on other times. But I'd get home, I'd heat my dinner up, and I'd sit back, crack a beer, and watch GSL on Friday nights. And it was like, I put it on the TV, that my roommate had a big TV, and it's like, oh man, this
That's perfect. That's the life.
Oh, yeah. But no longer. Now I just, keep the DGen caster hours and catch GSL VODs after the fact. And kind of skip through the commercials,
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of us do. Even in Hawaii, the GSL's on kind of late sometimes because it's on Wednesdays a lot, and I usually have a tournament the next morning. So I'm like, man, I did stay awake this last week, though, for Super Tournament, and I regretted it so much. So much regret.
Oh, man. It's got to be the worst thing, though. Not necessarily that. Like, sometimes you get a couple hours, it sucks. Actually, when you just get a couple hours, I feel like it's almost worth it to just stay awake. Because, getting 3 hours does not make you feel any more rested. It makes it worse.
Yeah, it's true.
But on the flip side, man, you ever have one of those 3 or 4 a.m. broadcasts? There is no good way to anyway modulate your sleep for that one.
No. I usually try to prep ahead for that. If I know I have that in a couple of days, I'll try to kind of push my sleep schedule a little bit off so that staying up or going to sleep earlier or whatever it happens to be is possible. I try to plan ahead if I can. You can't always, but
But how successful are you at that?
Sometimes more than others. I'm pretty good about getting my sleep schedule to what it needs to be.
Props.
It ruins the rest of my everything else I do, but I can do that one thing. I can stay up super late one day so that I get 12 hours of sleep and then am awake when I need to be.
I used to be 12 hours of sleep, or just for that one day.
I mean, when you stay up for 35 hours,
that'll do it.
You want to sleep for 12 hours after that.
That is fair. Yeah, I used to be really good at that, like making sure I go to sleep at a really good time, and then now it's just like, I get really sucked into a project and go to bed too late anyways. It's like, oh well, okay. But Chicken Man, it's 5 minutes in. Surely something weird has happened that we should talk about by now, and it's not just a standard +1 2 Stargate Void Ray timing into disruptors versus Aspire. I mean, Solar and Zest wouldn't do it to us that way, right?
No, this is an incredibly unique style of play, certainly out of Zest. I actually think the Spire is probably the most interesting thing here. But it's not that it's that interesting, just maybe it is the most interesting thing here from Solar, is that he's not just going for a Queen Walk, and he's not just going for Hydras. He's getting into Corruptors instead. Might he make Mutas first?
I mean, that is the meta. Solar is one of these players, Raynor, Solar, DRG, that have, I keep saying that I've just started pushing this, but they've been doing this for months now, where their idea, at least one of the good ways to deal with, especially this +1 idea that we do see Zest doing, which is a lot more safe against a lot of these Queen Walks, is you go Spire, you go up to just about 11 mutas with your first swarm of stuff. That forces the Protoss player to not really build carriers, because they just don't have the time. The mutas are too dominant. And then you build Corruptors because you need to deal with the Phoenix, and then you force the Zerg player, or you force the Protoss player into playing Phoenix Void Ray against Muta Corruptor, which again does seem to favor the Zerg. I don't think it's balance favored, but from a tempo perspective, from kind of an experience perspective, it does feel like something that the Zergs are just slightly better at doing right now. As I say that, Void Ray and the Oracles on the side, they're starting to find a little bit of damage here. And it's not going to be mutas, actually. That is, in fact, interesting.
Yeah, this is, this is a lot of damage here from just the Oracle and those 4 Voids. Zest not losing anything. He's lost 2 things this whole game. So, fantastic trade so far. And straight to the Corruptors, straight to the power units. Solar not trying to get that harassment done and force the Phoenixes or force the delay on the carriers, like you said. Maybe just hoping that the carriers are coming out. Corruptors going to be much stronger in the fight against carriers than they are against Void Rays. And as of yet, not showing what he's going for. But when you don't see any Hydras by this point, you don't see a mass of 47 Queens, Zest, I feel like he's got to know that something Spire is coming. And the mutas aren't here hitting, so makes sense to see the Corruptors.
Look at this, though. We're seeing some Overlords start to poop creep here. I don't know whether this is just to kickstart the creep spread, or whether it's going to be a full-on Queen Walk. No, he's walking Queens. We got rocks going down here. Corruptors are going to engage, lose a couple of Corruptors, but Prismatic Alignment has now been spent. These Corruptors are going to be so much more powerful now. The Queens are going to walk as well. Their job is not even to keep themselves alive. They're just transfuse bots for these Corruptors to knock down all the air army. But Zest already has Archons on the way. That is going to make it so hard. You talked about Void Rays and Tempests clumping up. Corruptors do the same thing, and Archons, they do a lot of damage to everything that the Zerg player has.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. The fact that he has those out is so important. There is not a lot on the ground to deal with these Roaches, though, so just a few Roaches and Ravagers can cause some problems for Zest. He's going to warp in some Zealots, but they are slow Zealots. They're going to die very quickly. It's all going to be about the air army, though, and the Corruptors sitting right on top of those Archons. The supercharged shield battery keeping the carriers alive. And I feel like Zest is, I feel like he's holding. It's not the prettiest hold in the world, but with a couple more Zealot warp-ins, the carriers are, well, as I say that, the carriers are starting to go down, eating some biles. But the Corruptors are all going to die, and yeah, 3 carriers still alive after that. Man.
Not a single carrier died in that engagement. They all got low.
They got so low. I was so ready for one of them to pop, but no.
And you know, you want to talk about how that engagement went. That was all about the Archons finding the spot. I mean, we saw the Corruptors trying to sit in the dead airspace where the Archons could not hit them, but I mean, that was 3 Archons wailing and wailing away at the Corruptors, and the Queens could not transfuse fast enough and actually just didn't have enough energy. The Roaches couldn't get on top of the Archons. Shield Battery Overcharge doing a great job of keeping a unit that is 99% shields alive. And Zest is totally fine. He's up on supply now, or at least he was for a second. He's got his 5th base on the way. +2 air attack is not on the way. I lied. But +2 ground attack. Blink. He is rounding out his composition. And Solar looks like he's just gearing up for the same push that didn't work last time.
Yeah, he's remaking those Corruptors. It's worth noting that 25 Corruptors died. He only has 12 now. So if 3 more carriers pop out, I'm not convinced the Corruptors win that fight. Carriers they're not great against Corruptors. Corruptors can be pretty good against them, but I don't know if it's that good. There is another Archon under here as well, but at least he'll force a cancel on this base. Looks like he'll grab a carrier before Zest turns around to take the fight. There's 1 Void Ray left. Corruptor's starting to chip through some of these numbers. Again, some of the carriers are low, but I guess it just doesn't matter. Zest is going to take this one. I think he's going to shorten this series up. As we get into Berlingrad here, spawning in the upper left-hand corner. He took 1 game, but it's looking tough for him after that last one. It is Kitesy Gaming's Solar.
And in the bottom right, in the red, looking to prove that he wins any map. That is not Pride of Altaris. He is for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Zest.
Yeah, that game was super weird too. Like, I don't know, maybe in a standard macro game, Zest could even win that, but
hey, Chicken Man. That game we saw is a standard macro game on Pride of Altaris.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. 1 base Stargate into 2 base Tempest is yeah.
I mean, we don't see a lot of Pride of Altaris in ZVP. At the pro level, it's almost always banned out unless we're best of 7.
Unless you're Zest. I feel like I see him on this map more than any other Protoss.
Yeah, he let it through against Solar and Ragnarok, which is really weird. Like, I don't understand that. I feel like he banned Curious Minds, I think, against Ragnarok is my guess. Hardwire and Curious were the 2 maps that were banned. I don't know what he's banned here. But it's kind of surprising, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he either feels comfortable on that map or he's testing out a few things. You know, we do have Katowice soon. Maybe he's banning a map that he has like a really cheeky build on.
Yeah,
and
or
he's like, I just don't want to show it, you know?
I don't even think it's that. I think it's your Katowice, though. I think you might be right, where Zest is planning on getting to the best of 7 stage.
Yeah.
You know, like years past, 2 years in a row, it has been Zest versus a Zerg player where Zest has lost.
It has been.
If I'm Zest here, I'm not necessarily banning out the maps I am bad on right now as I prepare for Katowice.
Yeah.
This is really the best competitive training that he's going to get. I mean, you can have customs, sure, but it does not have money behind it. It's not quite as high stakes. I'm going to let some of the maps through that I'm not comfortable on, and I'm going to try to figure out what of my builds actually work, or at least get a better understanding of the map in a competitive environment, so I can feel comfortable when I go to Game 7 in the Katowice Grand Finals and it's Pride of Altaris against Raynor, or Rogue, or Dark, or Cyril, or whoever it is.
One of the many, many Zergs that it absolutely could be.
I mean, I'm gonna make a bold prediction here. And that I don't think there's going to be a Zerg in the Grand Finals. Even as I want there to be. Oh my God. I want it to be Maru versus Cyril. I want a rehash of King of Battles 2 Grand Finals so badly. But I think it might be Zest versus Maru in that Grand Finals, depending on how the bracket ends up.
That's honestly, that is a fair thing to guess. Now that you said that, they're for sure going to be on the same side of the bracket in the playoffs, so it won't happen. But a very reasonable thing to suggest based on recent performances from both of them. I could absolutely see it being a Zest Maru finals. Here's my bold guess though. If one or both of them don't make it, whoever replaces them in the finals will be a Zerg. So if both of them don't make it, I think it's a ZVZ finals. I don't think there's another Protoss or Terran that's going to be in the finals other than these two, other than Zest or Maru.
You know, you say that. I can see Hero, for what it's worth, is my dark horse top 4.
I love Hero.
You
know how happy I'd be so excited if Hero got to the finals.
Yeah,
Don't do me like that. Don't give me hope.
Look, Hero he lost by a single map to Mario in the GSL Super Tournament. He also 3-0'd Trap. He has also won multiple EPT Cups in the last couple weeks against players like Zest and Cure. Yeah, he's got to go through the round of 36, and that is not easy for anyone. But he is peaking at the right time. Katowice is his home, effectively. And if he can make it through, he's going to make a deep run, I think. I don't know if he makes the finals, but he is my top 4. And if Maru and Zest don't qualify through, I can see him taking a grand final spot. It might be hopium. I don't know. Oh, look at that stasis.
That's a nice stasis. Solar pulling a Sue, as they say. But I really hope you're right. I love Hero. I'm so happy that he's back and he's been looking so sharp. Yeah, his Super Tournament performance was was killer. I would love to see him do really well at Katowice. That would be fantastic. I hadn't even really thought about it, about Hero doing well. I honestly haven't really thought about it too much. I took a look at the brackets and the groups, and I gotta have some instinctual feelings about how players are gonna do, but you really just never know.
Oh yeah, but I've been doing prep work for Katowice on the hope that I get a BCD stream slot, talking to pro players, doing all that. So I've been thinking a lot more now that the brackets have been coming out and how I think things are going to go. I'm not saying I'm right, but I can at least give you predictions about how I think things are going to go, right or wrong. Now, for example, we're going to see more Void Rays out of Zest in this game, and he's going to have to hold here. +1 is done in 6 seconds. The Queens are actually kind of get stuck here, so we're going to see one high energy Queen get targeted on down.
Whoa.
2-3 transfuses spent.
Oh my god.
It's not going to go down, but that is a lot of energy on one Queen.
Yeah, there's only 4 Voids here, though. This is a lot of Queens. Even if one did go down, I'd be very concerned. 2 more are on the way, but this static defense is not finished yet anywhere. I think you're right, man. I think we're going game 5. This this push is looking pretty deadly, and Zest just doesn't have anything to deal with it.
I mean, he does have 4 Voids, and he has 6 Voids rather soon. He has +1 on them. The Oracle is doing a lot of damage here. I cannot believe this thing is not dead. But yeah, you're right. The static defense is now done. Shield battery overcharge, I believe, was popped and lost.
Oh,
that being said,
Biles hitting that Void Ray. I mean, the third base is dead. Zest, he might try to fly across the map with the Voids and put some counter pressure on, but Solar's going to be very happy with the kill on the third. He could keep poking the front too if the Voids are going to run away. There's nothing to stop these Ravagers.
Well, except for the Voids that pop out right now in the Immortal as well. But yeah, you're not wrong. Zest, he says, okay, well, I lost my third. That's fine. Time for me to run across the map and do something. But there are Queens in constant production. Instead of, losing his third and killing his third in exchange, he's just going to lose his third and lose a lot of Voids.
And lose the game. That's what I'm going to go with. He's going to lose the third. And yeah, I mean, he can't be losing Voids here. The one thing he does have is still a lot of probes left alive. But, I mean, he's just going to try to grab the fourth. It's a bold move, but, I mean, what else can you do here? He has still 9 drones. It's pretty significant.
Yeah, it's like 10%, Have I mentioned that I really love Zest, by the way? Because I really love Zest. It's actually so refreshing. I mean, yeah, there's this whole conversation of, does the meta change? Does Zest shift the meta, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Zest is one of those players, and we've been talking about this. Hero really, truly is another who are experimenting with different ways to play the game, whether it's within the framework of the current meta. So, say, 6-gate Glaives off of a Stargate with +1, which is the weird build that I saw earlier, or just totally different ways. I mean, we've started to see some more ground toss come back. They're willing to experiment with the meta just a little bit more, which makes these games so much more interesting. And Zest, he's got, what has he got? 6 Voids, +1 is done, 3 carriers are on the way. And his fourth base is just about finished, or his third base is just about finished, right around the same time the fourth base of Solar is, and he's still mining somewhat well. I mean, he has 54 workers, even if he's kind of like long distance for the moment. Losing that third's not great, and losing those Void Rays, not great either. but it's maybe doable here. He needs to get some disruptors out.
Yeah, splash damage is going to be very, very important. Carriers can be quite strong. You can almost do carriers instead of splash damage to a little bit of a degree, but I don't know if the Flux Veins and more Void Rays is really going to be the way. If Solar's able to get, maxed out on Hydras, which is about 30 supply away from being maxed out, and he's got a lot of Hydras, this base is going to start looking a little dicey.
Yeah, now it's interesting. So this has been the way Zest has been playing this carrier transition every game in the series. Oh, he's going to lose another Void. Where he goes Void Rays with +1 into 3 carriers back into Void Rays. Right, 3 carriers are enough to hold down the fort for now, I guess. Now, the thing we got to talk about, Zest does not have any upgrade, or excuse me, Solar does not have any upgrades, which means these Hydras are actually going to die fairly quickly if they cannot take the fight. So that, well, we're just going to see the Void Rays move on forward, trying to avoid the Biles, and they will be successful in that. Queen's walking from the side. That means they're just not here whatsoever. Vipers, they don't have any energy, and that means these carriers are actually doing a really good job of the Vipers. They got that energy that they need now. One carrier gets abducted, it does go down, and there's just not enough anti-ground anymore. The carriers, they're gonna go down. The Void Rays as well. Carriers, they get abducted, and Zest, he's gotta find something here into the massive concave, but the concave, it is too damn big, Chicken Man. And guess what? Solar, he's gonna take us once again to game number 5.
That sounds about right. And I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see another one base play here. But so far, it's looking pretty standard. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner, we have our Kitesy Gaming Zerg player. He's evened it up. He's proven that he can take the games, that he can take the W's. But can he seal the deal? It is Solar.
And in the bottom right, there we go. On the bottom right, in the red, trying to take yet another EPT Cup. He's got a lot. He wants another. He is Zest. And look at
you
Solar.
love to see it.
What a cheeky lad.
Cheeky, cheeky Solar. I have to say thank you to Pony Danza for the tier 1 subscription.
Well, I'm going to take this moment. By the way, I did not acknowledge you when it happened because the game was going very exciting indeed. But 47ness, thanks so much for the 300 bits. I really appreciate it. If that's what, because we got time right now. The games are not as crazy.
Yeah. 47ness is a lovely, lovely human. Just for the record. Just going to throw that out there.
Agreed. He's not quite Total Biscuit level of carrying the scene because, no one can carry the scene with certain appendages like Total Biscuit could. But he's damn near close.
You got to do more of a specific kind of push-up to work that muscle to where you can support an entire esport.
Yes, exactly. So, Chicken Man, we're in game number 5. This one is for all the marbles. Although, who plays marbles anymore? What does Solar do with this faster full saturation? Because really, when you're at 6 mineral patches, it's not like you're going to be mining, it's not like you're going to get 66 workers and just mine more off the 3 bases. You just, for the most part, you're just going to get to that full 3 base mining or 2 base mining faster.
That's a good question. I mean, we could just see a big group of Lings to try to keep Zest off of a 3rd base. That has often been a popular thing to do in general. With the gold base, you can kind of get that down a little bit earlier. But I'm not too sure what we're going to see from Solar here.
I mean, the interesting thing about this actually is I've seen a bunch of Zerg players, they'll take that aggressive gold and they'll just use it to shore up their position. They don't get aggressive because honestly, Queen Walks on Blackburn are not very good at all.
Yeah.
The 3rd is so far away from where you're walking from, it doesn't really work out, and then the slow zones really cause some problems. Oh, look at, I'm excited. We got Phoenix play out on the map here.
Oh, okay.
This may be
Do we think
one.
it's going to be multiple? I think it might be just one Phoenix and then into an Oracle or 2.
But why not just get the
Which
border
might
then?
mean ground.
Like, why not?
I mean, the Phoenix is cheaper, right? So if this is all you're doing.
I mean, it's marginally cheaper though, and the Void Ray has just so much more utility. Because Chicken Man, there is nothing sadder in the game of StarCraft than a single Phoenix.
It do be pretty sad. You're right.
Ooh, oh. Please tell me.
So he
please,
started in Oracle.
just for the
It's
scout.
got to be Phoenix then, right?
Yeah.
It
Double
has to be.
Stargate Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
man. Game 5. When was the last time you saw like doubles triple Stargate Phoenix versus Zerg?
It's very rare. I think Goblin pulls it out occasionally, and that's about it. Oh, this is kind of cute. He's using the one Phoenix in the best way the one Phoenix can be used. But that might just make Solar think it's more likely to only be one Phoenix, right?
I mean, this was the way you used to open Phoenix back in Heart of the Swarm, early Legacy when Phoenix play was a thing. You'd be like, yeah, I got my Oracle and I got my Phoenix. I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna lift the Queen. My Oracle's gonna do more damage. It's going to be great. But we don't see Phoenix play anymore. So that tech, that idea has fallen by the wayside. A tech in the context of like a fighting game tech, which is a technique, not a piece of technology. Anyway. We got to be clear here and precise in our words.
It's true.
Chicken Man.
Yeah, your esports terminology has to be specific.
But yeah, I mean, 2 Phoenix on the way. We don't see. I almost expected to see like Fleet Beacon or +1 air just because that happens. And Solar's going Spire.
Yeah, and this is. I think this is why Zest is going Phoenix. I feel like this is a read. He's like, I think you're going Spire on this map. I mean, Corruptors can still be kind of good, but that is not, I think, what Solar is going to want here. Now, he's going to see the Phoenixes as they come across. There's not a lot of Spore Crawlers here. Not a lot of support for these Queens. I feel like we're going to see a few Queens going down, and these Phoenixes are just going to be having a field day with the Overlords here.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be so freaking supply block. All the Overlords are going down. And you gotta remember, Chicken Man, there are a couple truisms about dealing with Phoenix play. First and foremost, you just build drones. You build more and more and more drones, and that's kind of how you look to approach that versus, say, Voids, where you kind of want to fight it a little bit more. But B, it's 1 spore per Stargate. It's single Stargate Phoenix, you bet 1 spore, you get 1 score per base. It's 2 Stargate Phoenix, you get 2 spores per base, and that is not something that Solar had in the slightest. These Phoenix finding so much value. The Roaches, they're going to dive into the third, but they shouldn't get too much here. The Phoenix, they're not even running home. Void Ray's not popping out because he knows that Corruptors will start to hit the field. I mean, there's got to be some tech here, and now we're starting to see spores 2x2, but 14 workers. The entire gold mineral line is going to get wiped out. And this pressure on the third from Solar is nothing.
He built a couple Void Rays, which, as you mentioned earlier, better all-around units. They can help defend the ground quite a bit more. And he might want to build more Void Rays as the Corruptors come out here. It's a possibility. It doesn't look like that's the plan, though. He's got the Templar Archives coming up, and he's got charge in a lot of gates. I think we're about to see a follow-up Charge Lot Archon push on 3 bases out of Zest.
Oh, man, I love that. Like, there was a time when the Void Ray change was first released, and you saw Zergs dying left, right, and center on the ladder and in smaller tournaments to this. Oh, yes, I'm opening Void Rays. Be afraid. It's a Void Ray pressure. You got to react to Void Rays. Don't skip your Roach Warren. And they would get like 2 Voids. And immediately, 7-gate Charge Lot Archon running across the map, and the Zerg's just dead. Because no one had figured out how to deal with that. Now it's less common, but it's a similar idea, except off of 3 bases, off of Phoenix play. And you're totally right, yeah. We're starting to see Archons hit the field. We're starting to see Charge. It's going to finish up +1 on the way. And Solar has to identify this. And he is starting Roaches, to be fair. I think he saw a lot of the gates around the 3rd base. The question is whether he's going to be able to stop it.
I mean, if he keeps pumping Roaches, that's the best chance he's going to have. It is going to be quite a few units from Zest. Roaches not really renowned for their ability at being very good units necessarily. But if he gets enough of them out, he will be able to hold this. And yeah, he's continuing to just build Roaches. He's got Roaches and Corruptors coming out. And actually, the Corruptors are going to try to dive in here and take down this Nexus. The Archon can't get back in to save this, so the Void Rays are all going to go down. Stalker's getting warped in, but Blink's only about halfway done. So the Corruptors should just be able to run away. The Nexus stays alive, but that was 4 Void Rays that just died for basically nothing. And Solar at the same time is pushing into the third with those Roaches and Ravagers, even bringing some Queens. But I'm pretty sure that Zest is going to be able to hold this. He loses the Robo, which is a bit unfortunate.
Well, you gotta remember, these are +0 Phoenix. They cannot really fight these Corruptors whatsoever, so they cannot engage in this fight. They cannot lift Ravagers. They cannot lift Queens, which does make it more complicated. That being said, +1 ground is done. The Stalkers are starting to fight here. Zerglings are trickling in, but does Solar have enough? It looks like for now he's going to take position on the third base. The Phoenix are worthless in this fight because the Corruptors are there. And Shield Battery Overcharge, I believe, yeah, it's been popped. Solar doesn't want to fight into this high ground now, but he can own the low ground. This third base of Zest is everything in this game. Number 5, Zealous trying to get on top of the army of Solar, and they will be successful. So for now, it looks like Solar will be forced back, but it's on a knife's edge here, Chicken Man.
He's just continuing to pump Roaches and send them straight across the map. He's got a few Lings coming as well, with which the Stalkers don't deal with particularly well. They usually overkill them by quite a bit. Finally, the Corruptors died, so the Phoenixes are actually going to be, those last 2 can lift up some units and punish Solar as he tries to retreat. Zest hold, but it was on a knife's edge there for a while. Solar decides to pull back, but he's still just pumping Roaches. There's no shield battery down at the third. The Robo died, but Zest has a 4th base. So if Solar is going to stop the aggression, he is going to be so far behind economically.
Yeah, Solar cut workers for that. Especially with the worker damage that he took around his 4th, he's on 59 workers. Yeah, you can say, oh, it's like 63 because it's a gold base. But even still, that's not a high worker count. And now the Ravagers are going to find their way on into a bunch of Blink Stalkers with +1. These Archons are going to get massive shots. The force fields forcing the Archons into it. Solar's going to be very sad to find out that there's a 4th base here that is mining. And yeah, the Phoenix, their time is done. But Solar, it feels like he forced himself into an all-in based on this Phoenix idea. And that's almost exactly what Zest wanted.
Yeah, it kind of played into Zest's hands. I think Solar hit a little bit before Zest was ready, but that's one of the best feelings in the world. When you're planning an attack and then your opponent attacks you, and you're like, oh, I was going to do that, so thanks for coming to me where I have static defense and faster reinforcements, I guess. I appreciate it. Solar still has the possibility to get some work done here. He's got a lot of use in this army. Ravagers can be pretty good. I love how he's trying to bile down the Phoenixes. Finally it works, so now it's 1 Phoenix left. Yeah, he's denying mining at a 4th base, which is great, I guess, but usually, as the Zerg, you'd want to be way up on mining, not on even workers and even bases.
Yeah, I love how he missed the biles on the Phoenix for quite a while, and these Zealots actually in the natural, they're not getting a lot, but they are forcing a significant portion of the army of Solar back. And I mean, there's no anti-air in that army. The Void Ray is going to be able to pretty much chase this as long as it wants. So it means these Ravagers are actually going to be in a problem, and Ravagers are the expensive portion of this army. This is so much minerals, so much gas that Solar has just kind of left out on the map to die, to be sacrificed for the greater good. And yes, the army of Solar is going across the map. Yes, he has a bigger army supply, but he's down 2 upgrades. He does not really have any longevity in the tech of this game, and he has lost so many Roaches and Ravagers there in the attempt of just running him on a merry-go-round. Yeah, the 4th base again will be denied. Yes, some of these workers are going to go down, but we have more and more Archons hitting the field. 2 Colossus on the way, so the longer this goes, the worse it is for Solar. And he is being flanked on in from every side. Immortals firing strong, Stalkers and Archons on the left. Stalkers and Archons on the right, try to take the fight for their lives here. But it still looks like Solar, he's going to be able to get on half the army with being segmented from the other, and at least taking an even fight. But he needs better than an even fight. He needs to win now, before the Colossus are out, before the Immortals are out, before Zest is able to get his tech even further forward.
Yeah, I mean, these fights are going better than I expected. Honestly, Solar has done a great job moving his army around. He's even bringing the Queens now, so the single Void Ray can't just get free damage anymore. But you're right. I mean, he needs to win a fight. He does have +1 missile attacks finishing up, so he'll be a little bit closer in terms of those upgrades. But the tech of Zest is going to really become a problem. We have a 3rd Colossus coming out, another Immortal, and the big thing is Disruptors. I'm actually surprised we don't see any from Zest right now, because Disruptors against Roach Ravager is like, it feels kind of broken. It's so good. Roaches and Ravagers clump like crazy. They do not split very quickly. and that is a Disruptor's dream unit to fight against.
Yeah, they give me literally every highlight I could ever want to post to Twitter or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, hey, Disruptor game. Dead Roach Ravager, big explosions. That being said, Extended Thermal Lance is going to be done somewhat soon, as Zest is playing this battle on 3 fronts rather magnificently. Army on the left, right, and center doing what it can. Colossus drops as well, and Zest has absolutely surrounded everything that Solar holds dear. But of course, Solar, he's got Zerglings in the main base. He's got Zerglings in the natural here, annihilating Zest's economy. So Zest now rapidly moved into an all-in position. He's got to win with his army. I've got a lot of faith in that army, but I don't know that I have that much faith.
I mean, it is a very strong army, but he's got to dodge Biles. Probably doesn't want to eat too many of those. The Colossi are doing so much damage from the air, but again, these Biles are so good. Solar just keeps retreating and nailing even just a few Biles here and there makes the fight so much easier to win. And now Zest, he's trying to take this fight. He does need to do a lot of damage here as he is down 30 workers. Solar has a 5th base up. The moment Zest pulls back, Solar can just hit that drone key and get up to an insane economy where the Roach Ravager reinforcements will be enough to eventually take Zest down. But can he get to that point? Will Zest be able to push through? He still hasn't cleaned up all the links, but you know what? He's still got like 2 bases worth of mining right now. Maybe a base and a half. Is that enough for him to keep reinforcing? It looks like the answer is yes, as Solar has to tap out. And Zest, on the back of no economy, takes game number 5.